Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with the video.
Growing up, we were three siblings. The eldest was my brother, 28, male. I, 26, female, was the middle child, and then the youngest was my sister, 23, female. I don't remember much as we were very young back then. From what my brother told me, things started to change right after my sister was born. In no way did we blame her, though. When I was a kid, I was quite happy to have another sibling to play with. We both were. But soon, we were cast aside, and all the attention at all times was on her. My brother was older than me, so he could see it happening way before I noticed. I remember a few things, though, like when my sister and I used to play, if she so much as started getting fussy, my parents would immediately intervene. If she fell, then I was blamed and disciplined even if I didn't do anything. I was young and couldn't understand why Mom and Dad had suddenly changed. Back then, I thought I had done something wrong. It was not just one parent, it was both of our parents acting differently. The same thing happened with my brother. If he was watching her and she started crying, then he was punished. The punishments for both of us started getting harsher, so we kept away from her. Our parents didn't mind. It was like we weren't even on their mind, like we were an obstacle. My brother had started taking care of me, so if I was hurt or sick, he would look after me. He basically became my parent, and I was very attached to him. I longed for comfort and warmth. My parents didn't give me any of that. Even as she grew up, she started blaming me and my brother for things she would do. If we tried explaining it to our parents, then we both got punished. This continued until one day I snapped and hit her. I was around 10 years old. You should have heard her wailing. It was as if she had lost a limb. I had barely hit her. It was a pat on the back. I was angry. I didn't know why she acted like that. I was going to get punished anyway, so I actually hit her. We had a cat fight, pulling on each other's hair and tugging at each other's clothes until my father came home and separated us. He was at the neighbor's house. He asked what happened, but it was obvious to me that she was his precious. He looked at her so concerned, and he looked at me angrily, so I just ran up and locked the room. While running up, I screamed at him, telling him that he wouldn't believe me anyway. I was punished, and they made me do all the house chores too. The next day, I was sick. I was extremely tired and angry. Being sick made me feel worn out. My brother came home from his friend's place. They hadn't even noticed he was gone. When he came to check on me, he was worried sick. He cared about me more than my own parents did. He picked me up as I was crying from the high fever. He called our parents, but they just told him to give me medicine from the cabinet. He had already done that. He wet a cloth and put it on my head, trying to get my fever down. He was there with me for the next 2 days, taking care of me. Our parents didn't even check up on us. Their youngest was fussing again, telling them her body hurt, so they took her out. The same thing continued until I was 13 years old. My brother and I kept out of her way as much as we could. It was better for us not to stay at the house because the punishments were getting rough. My brother usually hung out at his friend's place, so he started taking me there too. His parents didn't mind us coming over, and his friend treated me like a sibling. I would always cry when they, his friend's parents, would get us gifts for Christmas. They had an idea of what was going on, but they weren't aware of the whole situation. My aunt and uncle from my mom's side had come to visit us for a few days. They had spent their time traveling all over the world. My brother and I had probably seen them once or twice when we were young. They were shocked by what was going on and confronted our parents. No one in their right mind would treat their children like that. They had seen me getting punished and had immediately intervened. An expensive vase had been broken and the blame fell on me. They had seen my sister push it over, but my parents somehow turned that around and put it on me. My mother got angry and told them that if they were so worried about me, they should take me with them because I was a horrible child. I started crying and my brother tried to comfort me. He tried his best to protect me, but then we both got the brunt of their anger. My aunt and uncle got into a fight with them. We left that night itself. They had taken both my brother and me, comforting us along the way. My parents didn't care. In fact, they were happy to get rid of us. We stayed at a hotel for a few days while Uncle sorted all our school stuff and documents. We didn't have that many things anyway. They didn't buy us anything. If I did get anything, it was clothes that she didn't like or didn't want anymore. They didn't fit. I mostly wore loose clothes. My aunt and uncle lived in another state, so we were leaving everything behind here. Before leaving, we said goodbye to my brother's friend's family. His mother got a little teary, but they were happy for us. Once we got to our new house, we were genuinely surprised by how big it was. It was beautiful, but when we entered, we didn't touch anything. It took us time to get comfortable there, but we were safe. We didn't have to watch our backs anymore. Aunt and uncle made sure to get full legal rights from our parents. It wasn't much of a struggle. Parents agreed happily. Me and my brother had been enrolled in a new school. They had taken us shopping. We got our own rooms, but I still slept with my brother in the beginning. We had gotten a fresh start. Aunt and uncle saw how scared we were, and they had a talk with us and decided to put us in therapy. It honestly helped a lot. 2 years passed and it was their wedding anniversary. We asked them if we could call them mom and dad, and they were so happy. Dad even cried a bit. It took us time to adjust, but we were finally a family. I loved it. My brother was happy and I was happy. This was what it felt like to be a family. We were overjoyed. The rest of our family had been made aware of the situation too. Slowly by slowly, everybody had cut them off. I don't think they even noticed. They were too busy pampering their golden child. Time passed and we had no contact for years. My brother had gone to university and graduated. I went to the same university as him and graduated after. Our parents, aunt and uncle, had paid for everything, and we both had been granted a scholarship too. We both landed good positions and side by side started a small business with our uncle and aunt. I'm going to call them uncle and aunt here for context purposes. We had fun with our small business, but slowly it had become huge. We thought it would be a good time to spread out. Eventually we decided to sell it. Aunt and uncle were already loaded, so they didn't need the money, so they gave it to us, but we refused. Eventually they invested it and kept us as nominees. A year later, we all decided to travel as a family. It was something my aunt and uncle loved doing, and we took quite a few trips growing up with them. We were grateful that they had found us and took us in without hesitation. While traveling, we obviously posted pictures of us. I was around 25 years old then. It was fun. The rest of our family was happy for us. Our birth parents seem like a bad memory now. We had no contact with them, and they had no way of contacting us. While we were traveling, one of our family members contacted my aunt, making her aware that my birth parents had gone into debt, and it was bad. They told us that they were contacting different family members, trying to get them to pay it off for them with promises that they would pay it back. Birth parents hadn't contacted them in years, and now all of a sudden they're in trouble and desperately begging for help. Nobody was willing to help them. That debt was infinite. It turns out their little princess had them taking loans left and right to keep up her lifestyle. They knew what they were getting into, but kept taking loans. My aunt was told that they were trying to contact our family for money. It looks like they had seen our pictures on social media and sent us message requests. Me and my brother weren't even aware of it and could care less about them. What were they hoping for? That we would help them after how they treated us? Somehow they managed to get my contact number. They called me and I didn't think much of it. It was an unknown number, but I answered it thinking it could be someone's new number. I was chilling with my family when I received the call. We were still traveling. Once I answered it, I heard a frantic voice on the other side saying, she picked up. I didn't recognize the voice, so I asked who it was. She told me, I'm your mother. Honestly, I was confused for a second. I looked behind me and there was my mother, aunt, sitting there. I questioned, Mom? and I could hear her frantic voice saying yes multiple times. My mother, aunt, looked up with questioning eyes, asking who was on the phone. I then realized and immediately hung up and blocked the number. I told my aunt, uncle, and brother what had happened, and they seemed worried. They didn't want them to harass me, so they suggested that I get a new number once we got back. I agreed. Soon, I started getting calls from different unknown numbers. It was getting frustrating. I knew it was them. I told my aunt and uncle that I was going to pick it up, put it on speaker, and tell them no for the money once and for all. They were hesitant but decided that it was better to get rid of him. I got a call again and answered. I put it on speaker. It was both of them and their child. I asked them why they were spamming me and told them to stop it. At first, they apologized, saying they missed me and wanted to meet me. They were proud that I had become rich. I didn't buy any of it and told them to get to the point. They asked if I could loan them some money and if my brother could too. I said no. They tried to convince me, but I told them not to contact me again. My family wasn't going to help them. I told them to ask their golden child for money, and they got pissed off. They were trying to act nice, but they obviously couldn't hold it together for long. My sister tried talking to me, and I told her that I had no interest in talking to either of them and was about to hang up when they both burst into a fit, telling me that I should watch my language while talking to them and that they were in debt because of me. I called them out on their bullshit. My parents, aunt and uncle, wanted to intervene, but I told them that I could handle it. I recited all the incidents from childhood and gave them a reality check, saying that I didn't owe them shite, and neither did my brother. I asked them who gave them the guts to contact us. My brother burst out too, taking the phone from my hands and started to yell at them, reminding them how they tortured us and how dare they try to put their debt on us. He told them that he wouldn't even go to their funeral and demanded that they not call us again. If they tried this shit again, he would sue them for harassment. The other side of the phone was dead silent. You could only hear whiny cries from their child. It looks like they had forgotten how they treated us, and this was a welcome reminder. We hung up then. I was getting a bit emotional, so my mom, aunt, came and hugged me. They had agitated me, but it felt good to show them they didn't have the upper hand on us anymore. I hugged my brother and father, uncle, and then we decided to all go out and have some well-needed fun after all this drama and stress. Update 1. Thank you so much, guys, for the support. My family appreciates it so much. It has been a few months now, and they haven't tried to contact us again. It looks like my brother's threat of suing them scared them away. They can't afford it anyway. From what I've heard from others, they lost the house and are selling everything to repay the debt. They've shifted into a small room and have all got jobs. Even their golden child is working now. NTA, you and your brother don't owe them anything. How dare they try to put their leisure living debt on you? These types of parents make me go into a raging fit. NTA, everybody deserves parents, but not all parents deserve to have children. I'm glad your aunt and uncle stood up for you all and took you all in. Bless your family. Birth parents should have had child services called on them long ago. I'm not sure if it would have been a good option, but I'm glad you all got adopted by your second parents. Next story. My daughter, 13, female, is leaving for school for the summer soon. She's been going on about getting Snapchat for a couple of weeks now, and I've consistently said no. Last month, she tried to make a secret account behind my back and lost her phone up until recently. She's been getting increasingly desperate, telling me I'm ruining her summer. Her friends only communicate through Snapchat groups, and she's being left out of all their summer plans because she isn't in the group. I simply told her if they weren't willing to communicate in other means, they weren't true friends and she can do better. She'll be in some clubs over the summer, so she can make new friends. These ones obviously aren't willing to adapt for her. She hates me, obviously, and has been down in the dumps. My ex has contacted me recently and told me to lighten up, but I told her our daughter has already proven she can't be trusted by going behind my back in the first place. No one seems to be on my side, and I'm half tempted to just give in. People chastise you for allowing your teen on social media and then call you abusive when you don't allow it. You can't win. AITA? I do know her friends mean a lot to her. YTA, slightly. Social media isn't something to inherently be feared, but it is something that kids need to be educated about. Cutting her off socially from her social circle will only make her get better about hiding things from you in the future and make her feel like she can't have open communication with you. Next story. I have 2 kids. One is from me and my wife, and the other is from my wife's previous relationship. My oldest, 13, biological dad isn't in the picture right now, and me and her met when she was 2. My wife is a stay-at-home mother to 2 kids. Do I pamper my wife and kids? Yes. My wife stays with 2 kids from morning to midday, and my kids are amazing kids who do what they are supposed to do and more. They're kind girls. My mother used to like my wife until she became a stay-at-home mom and quit her job. My mother has the impression that it is easy and my wife needs to do something valuable. We have shut this down multiple times, and those times she stopped. We live in different states. We don't talk often, and I would consider us low contact. We took a trip over there for her birthday. 2 days in, my daughter, relevant to know that this is the oldest 13, asked if she could get an outfit online. I said yeah. When my daughter left the room, my mother got mad, saying that I am spoiling my kids and giving them too much, and she isn't even my kid and I'm wasting my money on her, then turned to my wife and said that she was a bitch for slacking off and doing nothing to provide for her family when there are women who are actually trying for their families, and she needs to stop taking advantage of me. Then my mother told me that I was disrespecting her by giving a girl who isn't even mine the same as what I would give my biological daughter, and showing that all of her work was for nothing since I'm wasting my money for a woman who is capable of helping. I wasn't even going to argue. We told her 3 times on separate occasions to cut it out, and now she's insulting me, my wife and my daughter. I find it ridiculous. I told her to stop being jealous of my family because of her anger from her past, and that it's none of our fault. I said we will not be reaching out to her until we, me and my wife, come to an agreement. My wife doesn't have it easy. She still takes care of 2 children and makes our house a home. Not everyone can just do that. We would absolutely fall apart without her. I don't waste my money on any of my family. They are my children and my wife. If I'm not giving my money to them, then what the hell am I even working for? And my daughter, whether she came from me or not, is my daughter. I do treat her like I treat my younger daughter, and they call each other sisters. I don't think you need blood to make a family. I've gotten calls from my sister and my aunt saying that she is stressing too much over this and it's not good for her health, and I should ease up on her because this is how she was raised and it's because of what she sacrificed. I know it can seem harsh, but I'm so over being disrespected and my wife being disrespected because of how we choose to live. But I can also understand that people have a one-track mind sometimes, so AITA? NTA, not even remotely, and I commend you for standing up for your oldest daughter. Your mother is selfish and entitled, thinking that your wife has to do anything. You two have a good relationship, and the way your marriage works and how your jobs work seems really effective and something you're happy with. She's your wife. Of course you want to pamper her, and absolutely, your daughter asking for an outfit isn't something that's out of line, and even if it was, it isn't her place to decide. Thanks for being a great dad, OP. Wow, NTA, sounds like you're better than your mom since you were both raised the same way. Yet you came through with your head screwed on straight and your mom's is still a bit wobbly. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.